I traveled a lot over the holidays, and whether I was in Baltimore or my hometown of Steubenville, Ohio, or back here in State College, any conversations about weather focused on how mild it was. And I think that with many taking time off and traveling over the holidays, we do tend to remember the general flavor of the weather at this time, especially if it seems to be changing over the years. And to briefly test that idea in the Commonwealth, I'll use temperature data from Harrisburg, a reasonable choice given its central location in the state, and data all the way back to 1888. I'll look at high temperatures from Christmas to New Year's each year, so that's 8 days over 135 years, totaling more than 1,000 temperatures to work with. Now on this bar graph, high temperatures are along the horizontal axis. The vertical axis is the percent of time each temperature occurred as the high. So for example, these three highest bars, they represent 34, 37, and 38 degrees. Each was the high temperature more than 5% of the time. And notice the overall shape of the graph, sort of the classic bell curve, tallest in the middle, thinning out toward the edges. The average here of all these numbers is 38.6 degrees. So where does the most recent period from December 25th last year to January 1st of this year fall on this chart? Well, here's a red dot for each of those 8 days. No surprise really, all on the warm side of the distribution. The average of those 8 temperatures is 49.5, nearly 11 degrees above that long-term mean. And this wasn't just the case in Pennsylvania. Everywhere from the Midwest to the Northeast had a relatively mild holiday season. Now what if, instead of looking at only this recent holiday season, we look back at the last 10? After all, many of us probably have a general sense of what the holidays have been like in recent years. So here's the bar graph for Harrisburg for just the last 10 years. And what you notice right away is that the distribution is shifted toward higher temperatures. In fact, the average jumps to 44.9 degrees, more than 6 degrees above the long-term mean. And to emphasize how different the distribution for the last 10 years is, here's the outline of the bar graph representing the entire 135-year period. You can really see how recent holiday periods have simply had a greater percentage of days in the 40s and 50s compared to the long-term record. And this general idea holds no matter where you go in Pennsylvania. So it's not just your imagination. This past holiday season and generally the last decade of holiday seasons have simply been, on average, milder than the long-term mean. Stay tuned. A relatively stormy extended forecast is next.